Hey kids, Phineas T. Walsh here. Welcome to the Fallout Shelter, the brand new children's show just for you. Kids, I mean. The rest of you can stay, if you behave yourselves. Today, on my way to the Fallout Shelter, I sensed something unpleasant down in the subway. People were growling at each other. As I stepped into the bright sunlight up on the street, they were still at it. I don't know about you, but whenever subterranean growling rises to the surface, it's time to pull out your copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, open it, and read the first words you see. Have you seen the mock turtle yet? Great. Previously, Alice has seen the white rabbit, tumble down its rabbit hole, tried to squeeze through a little door into the loveliest garden you ever saw, shrank and grew, almost too many times to count, swam with a mouse, raced to Dodo, listened to a tale of a mouse's tale, meets the white rabbit again, grows some more, gets stuck in his house, shrinks some more, too much this time, tries to recite a popular poem to a blue caterpillar, who is sitting on top of a mushroom, but the words all came different. Each one side of it, the mushroom I mean, shrinks almost to nothing, eats the other side, and grows an immense length of neck, lifting her head high above the treetops where she must convince a pigeon that she's not an egg-eating serpent. After changing sizes a few more dizzying times, she comes upon an extremely ugly duchess who speaks roughly to her little boy and beats him when he sneezes. Fearing for the child's safety, Alice takes him away with her. And what does he do? Turns into a pig and runs off into the forest. Looking up, she spies the Cheshire Cat, grinning down at her from a tree, though it soon vanishes, beginning with the end of the tale and ending with the grin, but not before sending her off to what has ever since been described as a mad tea party. Calling it the stupidest tea party I ever was at in all my life, Alice walks off in disgust, finally arriving in the loveliest garden you ever saw. She immediately encounters a pack of cards, playing croquet. The rest of the cards are all running around worshipping the Queen of Hearts. Oh, the king was there too, he just wasn't as loud as the Queen. And by the end of the game, things aren't going well for the remaining cards, as nearly all have been sentenced by the Queen to their own beheading. Whoa! Oh! How did I get over here? Oh well, welcome to the Reading Corner. Chapter 9, The Mock Turtle's story, has just begun. The Queen, quite out of breath from shouting, "Off with his head!" or "Off with her head!" turns to Alice and says, "Have you seen the Mock Turtle yet?" "No," said Alice. "I don't even know what a mock turtle is." "It's the thing mock turtle soap is made from," said the Queen. "I never saw one, or heard of one," said Alice. "Oh, come on then," said the Queen, "and he shall tell you his history." As they walked off together, Alice heard the king say in a low voice to the company generally, "You are all pardoned." "Come, that's a good thing," she said to herself, for she felt quite unhappy at the number of executions the Queen had ordered. They very soon came upon a griffin, lying fast asleep in the sun. If you don't know what a griffin is, look at the picture. "Up, lazy thing," said the Queen, "and take this young lady to see the mock turtle, and to hear his history. I must go back and see after some executions I've ordered." And she walked off, leaving Alice alone with the griffin. Alice did not quite like the look of the creature, but on the whole she thought it would be quite as safe to stay with it as to go after that savage queen. So she waited. The griffin sat up and rubbed its eyes. Then it watched the queen until she was out of sight. Then it chuckled. "Ha ha ha! What fun!" said the griffin, half to itself, half to Alice. "What is the fun?" asked Alice. "Why, she," said the griffin. "It's all her fancy, that. They never executes nobody, you know. Ha ha ha! Come on!" "Everybody says 'come on' here," thought Alice as she went slowly after it. "I was never so ordered about in all my life. Never. By the way, did you know that Alice's Adventures in Wonderland began as a fairy tale told to the three little sisters? Little was their last name. Their first names were Edith, Lorena, and of course, Alice. These three Victorian little sisters first heard this fairy tale one golden afternoon while rowing up the River Thames. The man who thought it all up was an extremely shy mathematics professor by the name of Charles Dodson. After much encouragement, he wrote the story down, finally publishing it as a book 3 years later using a pseudonym, meaning a made-up name. And the name he made up? Lewis Carroll. Insisting the book have pictures, because what's the use of a book without pictures, he teamed up with John Tenniel, a well-known illustrator and cartoonist of the day. The two of them went on to make wondrously nonsensical history together. But I digress. They had not gone far before they saw the mock turtle in the distance, sitting sad and lonely on a little ledge of rock. And as they came nearer, Alice could hear him sighing as if his heart would break. She pitied him deeply. "What is his sorrow?" she asked the griffin. And the griffin answered, very nearly in the same words as before, "It's all his fancy, that. He hasn't got no sorrow, you know. Ha ha ha! Come on!" So they went up to the mock turtle, who looked at them with large eyes full of tears, but said nothing. "This here young lady," said the griffin, "she wants for to know your history, she do." "Oh, I'll tell it her," said the mock turtle in a deep, hollow tone. "Sit down, both of you, and don't speak a word till I've finished." So they sat down, and nobody spoke for some minutes. Alice thought to herself, "I don't see how he can ever finish if he doesn't begin." But she waited patiently. "Once," said the mock turtle at last with a deep sigh, "I was a real turtle." These words were followed by a very long silence, broken only by an occasional exclamation of from the griffin, and the constant heavy sobbing of the mock turtle. Alice was very nearly getting up and saying, "Thank you, sir, for your interesting story," but she could not help thinking that there must be more to come, so she sat still and said nothing. When we were little," the mock turtle went on at last, more calmly, though still sobbing a little now and then, "we went to school in the sea. The master was an old turtle. We used to call him Tortoise." "Why did you call him Tortoise if he wasn't one?" asked Alice. "We called him Tortoise because he taught us," said the mock turtle angrily. "Really, you are very dull." "What? Out of time? Oh, I'm having so much fun. Do you mind if I keep reading?" Great. I'll see you in part 2. From the Fallout Shelter, I'm Phineas T. Walsh. You be safe out there.